It is 3:12 in the morning. Somewhere, right now, a person is lying perfectly still, staring at a ceiling they have memorized without meaning to. The house is silent. The body is exhausted, and yet nothing happens. No drift, no fade, no surrender. Just the quiet, mechanical tick of a mind that refuses to switch off. Most people assume sleep is something you simply do, like breathing, like blinking. Close your eyes, and eventually, the body takes over. That assumption is wrong. Sleep is not a passive event. It is a biological negotiation, one that can fail. And when it fails completely, when it doesn't return at all, what happens next is not tiredness. It is something closer to a slow disassembly of the self. Here is what most people believe. If you stayed awake long enough, you would simply feel more and more tired until your body forced you to collapse into sleep. That is not what happens. The body does not have a hard override switch. It has something far stranger, a slow erosion of the boundary between waking and dreaming until the two conditions begin to blend into one another while you are still technically conscious. By hour 24 without sleep, your reaction time already resembles that of someone legally drunk, not tired, impaired. Your brain is not simply low on energy, it is beginning to misfire like a machine running without its scheduled maintenance. And maintenance, it turns out, is the wrong word, too small for what sleep actually does. In 2013, researchers studying mice noticed something that quietly rewrote what scientists thought they understood about the brain. During sleep, brain cells shrink slightly, almost imperceptibly, but that small shrinkage opens up space between them. And through that space, a wave of fluid moves through the brain, flushing out the metabolic waste that has built up during the day. Your brain, it turns out, washes itself every night. While you are unconscious and unaware, a cleaning system is running through the most complex object in the known universe. One of those waste products is a protein called beta amyloid, the same protein found in dangerously high concentrations in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. Skip a night of sleep, and that protein does not simply wait patiently for tomorrow. It accumulates. Most people think the worst thing about sleep deprivation is feeling groggy. That is not what the data shows. By day 2 without sleep, something else begins, something the brain was never designed to hide. Microsleeps, brief, involuntary shutdowns lasting only a few seconds, where the brain simply goes offline without permission, whether you are standing, walking, or driving a car at 70 miles an hour. You do not feel yourself disappear. That is what makes it dangerous. The lights go out, and you have no memory of the dark. By day 3, the hallucinations begin. Not dramatic cinematic visions, but small, quiet distortions. A shadow that moves wrong, a texture on the wall that seems to breathe. The brain, deprived of its nightly reset, starts blending dream logic into waking perception because somewhere in its architecture, it is trying to dream anyway, whether you are asleep or not. This is the part almost no one expects. The brain does not wait for permission to dream. If you deny it sleep, it will find a way to dream through you. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner decided to break the world record for staying awake as part of a high school science project. He lasted 11 days. By day 4, he could no longer identify objects by touch. By day 7, his speech had become slurred, his memory riddled with gaps he couldn't explain. By day 9, he began hallucinating that he was a famous football player, fully believing it, arguing about statistics that didn't exist. The scientists monitoring him expected his brain activity to resemble complete exhaustion. Instead, they found something stranger. Portions of his brain appeared to be sleeping in isolated fragments, small regions shutting down independently while the rest of him remained, technically, awake. His brain wasn't refusing to sleep. It had started sleeping in pieces. This reveals something unsettling about consciousness itself. We like to believe that awake and asleep are two separate states, a light switch, on or off. But the deeper the research goes, the more that boundary dissolves. Dolphins sleep with one hemisphere of their brain at a time, keeping one eye open to watch for danger. Migratory birds can nap mid-flight, one half of the brain resting while the other steers. Humans, deprived long enough, begin to do a broken version of the same thing, except without control, without warning, and without the evolutionary design to make it survivable. You were never built to choose when to stop sleeping. You were only ever built to lose that choice, slowly at first and then all at once. There is a disease that shows us what the far end of this road actually looks like. It's called fatal familial insomnia, an extraordinarily rare genetic condition in which a misfolded protein slowly destroys the region of the brain responsible for regulating sleep. Those who develop it do not simply struggle to sleep. They lose the ability entirely. First comes insomnia that no medication can touch, then panic attacks and phobias that seem to appear from nowhere. Then, over months, the hallucinations deepen into a permanent waking dream, a state researchers have described as being trapped between two realities at once, neither of which offers rest. There is no recovery. There is no cure. The disease does not kill through violence. It kills by removing, piece by piece, the one process the brain depends on to remain a coherent self. Scale this outward, and the implications stop being personal. They become civilizational. During the Second World War, several militaries experimented, quietly and with troubling ethics, on how long soldiers and pilots could function without sleep, searching for a tactical edge. What they found instead was decision-making collapsing long before the body did. Judgment failed first. Awareness of that failure came second, if it came at all. That pattern hasn't gone away. It has simply changed uniforms. Modern research on sleep-deprived drone operators, night shift surgeons, and long-haul truck drivers reveals the same signature failure. People who are cognitively impaired almost never believe they are impaired. The brain, running on borrowed time, keeps issuing a calm, confident narrator, right up until the moment it makes a catastrophic mistake. Sleep deprivation, in other words, does not just damage the mind. It disguises the damage from the mind experiencing it. Here is the deepest revelation buried inside all of this. We tend to think of sleep as a pause, an absence, a gap in the story of our lives, something we do between the moments that matter. But the evidence suggests something closer to the opposite. Sleep may be the process that makes the story possible at all. It is when memories are sorted and reinforced, when the emotional weight of the day is quietly filed away, when the very fluid dynamics of the brain physically restore themselves. Consciousness, it turns out, is not a continuous flame that simply burns whether or not you tend to it. It is a flame that must regularly be allowed to go out so that it can be relit correctly. Remove that nightly darkness permanently, and you do not get a longer, more productive version of a person. You get a mind slowly losing the architecture that made it a mind in the first place. So we return to that person, lying awake at 3:12 in the morning, certain that sleep is simply something they are choosing to delay. Perhaps that was never quite true. Perhaps sleep was never the interruption to a life. Perhaps it was the quiet, invisible author writing it, one unconscious night at a time, so that the waking self could keep believing each morning that it had remained the same person all along. And somewhere in that thought is a discomfort worth sitting with. That the very stability you feel right now, your memory, your judgment, your sense of being you, was never something you built alone. It was built, every night, by a version of you that you will never remember meeting.